You're just handed your plate of barbecue. You got the moist brisket, you got the mac and cheese, you got the potato salad. You walk over by your table, you're by yourself. You sit the tray down to go get your Coke Zero, right? Standard operating procedure. You get the Coke Zero, you're walking back, and you see a homeless person with your tray walking really quickly out of the restaurant. What do you do in this instance? In this video, this is something that just happened to me the other day. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through what I did in this situation, and I'm gonna tell you why. Now, before I do, if you're interested in sharing what you would do, I'd like to know in the comments below, because there's a few options that make sense. I've talked about this with multiple people just because it's kind of a interesting situation, and I'm gonna tell you why I landed on the response that I did land on, and why I still, even after thinking about it critically, think it is the right response. So I'm at a place called Terry Black's here in Austin, my favorite barbecue place in Austin by far. And I do that and I set my tray down, and the thing that was confusing is I was like, is that the right table? And I look and I saw there's no other trays at other tables, and I see this lady walking out, but there's 2 cups of soda on it. So I'm like, that doesn't really look like my tray, but there's nobody else around. It's like I go at the slow time, so there's no line. And so I go outside and I go, ma'am, and I look closer, and sure enough, I see that beautiful tray. And I say, you got my tray. And so she clearly, this is a move that she has. What she does is she fills up 2 cups, puts them on the tray, and it confuses people like it did me. And they think, oh, that doesn't really look like my tray. Maybe that's a her. And it gives her time to get out of there. So what I'm thinking at this point, and she just immediately, she's like, oh, tray, and then turns and runs, okay? So there's really 2 options, right? You can either just act like, well, I mean, I could have not even like gone up to her and just saw her leaving and said, oh, you know, she's homeless. She probably needs it more than me. She can take it, you know, just go with it and go get another tray. The restaurant probably would have comped me and not charged me for the tray. So is that the right thing to do? Do you let the homeless person leave with your tray and go get a free tray? Valid option. But what I did is I went up there and I said, hey, that's my tray. Give that back. That's not yours. Sets it down, runs, okay? And listen, I wasn't like aggressive to get her to run. I was like, give me back my tray. I was very nice and cool about it. And I think that is the right thing to do. So the sad thing is that I went back in, and you know, with everything going on with health and stuff, I didn't want somebody who's like breathing all over my food. So I went in, I told the manager what had gone on, and I told him like what the lady looked like and what her move was so they could maybe prevent this in the future. And he said, oh man, I'm so sorry, yeah, here's another tray. So that food went to waste. So there's an argument to be made that, well, maybe it would have been better just to let her have that. But that is not, in my mind, that is not the right move. Because if you allow people to break the law, then it's gonna encourage them to do it more. I don't wanna live in a culture or a society where people feel entitled to break the law, to steal things from you. It doesn't matter. So the right thing to do as a citizen, because as soon as citizens of a country all say, oh, that's completely fine, what happens? People start doing it more. And now people are stealing more food from barbecue places. It sounds ridiculous, but look at some of the grocery stores. I remember when I lived in Dallas, I was talking to one of the managers at one of the nicer grocery stores out there, and he said, we actually now have a policy that we will never confront anyone who is clearly stealing. They can be taking a cart and pushing it right out. The policy is you can't confront them because the risk is higher to the grocery store than the benefit of getting that back. And that is a real problem because what happens now in that grocery store? I said, what happens once that news gets out? More people are gonna come in and steal stuff. And he said, that's exactly what happens. So I think going back to the barbecue situation, when I approached her, I was taking risk because she could have thrown the tray on me. She could have had a knife. She could have started yelling. I was assuming that risk to do what I thought had the highest integrity. I think that calling out theft and stopping a theft is the highest integrity move. And looking back, I do that. But if you're in that situation, maybe you don't want to assume that risk of getting hurt or having food dumped on you. And I understand that too. And so if you said below, well, I would just let her take it and go get a new one. I'm not going to say, no, that's not right, that's wrong. But I will say, I think that if you have the comfort level with yourself, being able to handle yourself. I wasn't too worried about her physically coming at me. If I get barbecue dumped on me, well, so what? It's a great story. I think if you have the confidence to be able to do that, the best move is to act within your own integrity. And within my own integrity, it told me we have to stop theft. We can't allow people to do things like this that will establish a new norm of stealing things that aren't yours from people. That's not cool with me. That's not a city that I want to live in. That's not a culture I want to be in. And the people that live in the culture, although I'm just one person, all it is a bunch of one people. So I would encourage you, you don't have to do what I would think is best. That's my thinking, and I do think that's best. But come up with something that you think is best that's within your own integrity so you can feel strong and confident about that. So many times when people come to the Charisma Matrix channel and talk to me, and sometimes in consulting, they want a quick fix for how they can become really rock solid confident. How can I, a big one is, how can I just not care what other people think about me? Well, to discover and to uncover and to establish, I think establish is the best word to describe this, a true confidence that is so strong that you aren't swayed by other people's opinion. You have to live up to your own integrity. What you think your moral code is, you have to live up to that, whether you're by yourself or there's 10 people looking, because your subconscious can't sneak anything by it. It sees everything. And if there's even one time you're like, oh, no one's gonna see me walk out with this, I'm gonna tell them I had 2 bagels instead of 1, your subconscious sees that and it lowers your confidence. So always remember that. Act within the most integrity that aligns with your integrity, because it's gonna pay itself back in spades much more than that free bagel that you got. Now, this is one kind of a complex social situation. If you would like to learn how to improve your overall social skill so you feel comfortable starting a conversation with somebody in public, maybe you're at a networking event and you wanna know how to go up to somebody and just say something engaging and present yourself in a way that will make them want to talk to you. Have you ever gone up to people, start a conversation, like, just kind of drift off, they're not interested? You gotta know how to position yourself as high status and someone who deserves to be given the attention and talked to. I've got a video where I'll teach you how to do that right here. And I got a program called the Social Invincibility Program that'll take it to a whole nother level that you can click on right here to check out. I'll talk to you there.